Hello, everyone. We are Danielle Jones and
Mihai Ciobotariu.
your hosts in this podcast series. We are Erasmus students from the United States and
Romania.
And together with our friends Oriane from France
And Guillermo from Spain.
who did all of the behind-the-scenes things that we are very, very grateful for.
In this podcast, we will help you to give you advices to overcome your fears of travel.
We have a lot in store for you guys today, such as great stories from our guests and our own experiences of studying and living abroad for the first time.
So yeah, the reasons why people don't travel are uncountable. But before thinking about what makes you to be afraid to travel, believe me, everybody has this dream inside. The sad part is that for some of us, time passes and dream destinations are often forgotten about. You lose yourself in your work, in creating a family and daily life. Then one day you realize that you didn't manage to visit the places where you wanted to go so badly at a point in your life.
Most of the people choose to invest in goods, but I think this is actually completely wrong. First of all, invest in you. Invest in your person. Improve yourself. And the best way to do that is to travel. You open your horizons. You understand that the world, it's not just what your eyes can see. You realize how much of a fool you could be all of your life, and that your life is too short. If you don't travel, it's the same thing like you just read one page of a whole novel.
Let's speak a little bit about our guests. They will share with us their unique experience, which will give us the chance to hear stories from all over the world. From Belgium to Chinese students, we will interview each of them in order to find out what are some of the major fears related to traveling from around the world and how these fears are overcome. Now we have our first guest, Shirley van Petergam, a tourism student of Howest University. We spoke with her previously, and I know you guys are gonna enjoy what she has to say and why she makes the choices she does. Hello and welcome to Shirley.
Hello, my name is Shirley. I'm from Belgium and I'm currently in my third year of tourism and leisure management in Howest. So I love to travel and all of that, but as you know, I am a little bit scared, not really scared, but I wouldn't like to go right now to Istanbul. Istanbul does really attract me because I think it's like a wonderful place with a lot of things to see. Ever since I've learned about it in the first year of my education, I've been wanting to go to Istanbul, but right now just like maybe later because of the number of attacks recently. So yeah, I would want to go there if there was like a big opportunity right now to go. I think I would still go, but only if that's like a one of a lifetime experience and opportunity. But I have like a whole life in front of me, so yeah, I can visit Istanbul also later, like in 10 years or 5 years. So yeah, the attacks are really the only thing that keep me from going right now. The best part about traveling for me is the experience of the whole traveling thing and getting to know different people, cultures. I love differences in cultures. I love to get to know about everything about that. And just like, learning about the world and people. That's what I love about traveling. Any reasons that prevent me from going anywhere? Yeah, not really. They're not really like things that would prevent me from going anywhere. Only like there are a lot of places to go, so I can visit one place first that is safer right now, and then visit a place that is more dangerous from terrorism later. So of course you can go. You can think like an attack can happen anywhere, but if you think like that, you just should stay at home, and your freedom is just taken away from you. So I don't really think like that. But just in Istanbul, the chance of happening is like bigger. My dream of going to Istanbul is definitely bigger than the fear. So I think if the attacks keep going on, there would still be a moment that I think risking it and going to Istanbul. So my dream is definitely bigger than the fear. Yeah. To overcome my fear, I would just go to the place, just visit it and confront yourself with the fear, because I think the more you have a confrontation, the more you will see like, oh, why do I even have this fear? Like the attack in Brussels airport. Since the attack in Brussels airport, I've been there several times, and of course every time I'm there I see the soldiers and I think about the attack and I'm like, whoa, what if an attack happens now? I could be dead right now or in a minute. But the more I come there, the more I'm like, you see, last time I've been here and nothing happened, so it is safe. So maybe the confrontation helps to overcome your fear.
Wow, she does make some really interesting points there. We all worry about going to dangerous places, I think. The important thing is to remember that these places may be a little bit more dangerous than others, yeah, but look at Shirley. Even with this fear in her heart, she won't give up on her dreams so easily.
With a totally different perspective of seeing the things, we have our next guest, Konrad Christian, an IT student from Howest University. He has really interesting points when it comes to speak about Istanbul. He was there 2 months ago, so I'm pretty sure you will find what he has to say very interesting and useful. Here it comes, Konrad.
I'm Konrad Christian. I'm a student, an MCT student at the Howest, and I'm currently a buddy of internationals to guide them through the semester. I was buddy of a Turkish student. Her name was Aydan. The time we had was great, and actually recently I went to visit her in Istanbul. I was actually excited but also afraid what to expect. My parents warned me like, don't say that in public, but actually in general I found Turkey to be very safe, and I didn't feel the presence of any immediate danger. I had small fears, but not major ones, but just the fear because that wasn't actually a fear, but just like an inconvenience. But when you end up in Istanbul, only the youngsters really speak some English, and all the rest, like the elderly people, they don't understand English at all. So I ended up at the airport alone, but I had to go to a place that I actually had no idea where to go to. So I didn't know that place, so I had to explain to somebody in English to go to a place that I really didn't know. That was actually, and to get money, local money, because they don't use the same currency as in Europe. Yeah, that was like an inconvenience, but it doesn't mean that it's a fear. I try to prevent to start thinking about that stuff when you're in the airplane. You just, a problem arises, you solve the problem, and you go on. If you start thinking about the problems you might have when you end up in some place, then you will have a lot of fears before you leave. So I think you just take every situation, you analyze it, you solve it, and you go on. You don't think about it before. Actually, when I go traveling, I try to make my decision as impulsive as it can be. But if I plan too much ahead, then I start getting the fear of what to expect, where will I end up. Actually, when I went to Turkey, I just booked my flight just randomly one night, because I guess if you start thinking about what you're planning to do and what you're going to do, then fear will get in, fear will rise up. But if you just don't think about it and order your tickets, then you will have something to hold in your hand even when fear starts to arise before you leave. Then you're really reassured that you will end up there and you will do whatever you have to do there and you want to do there. So
There is quite a difference in how these two face travels. Both have their points, but in the end, you can't let the fear stops you from traveling. And most of the time you worry too much about things that will never happen. Preparation for this kind of situation It's important, of course, but to really enjoy a trip, you also need spontaneity.
It's funny how places that are considered dangerous to some people can actually be one of the best experiences, though. I've also been to a place that can be considered dangerous to some people, and that is Kenya in Africa. In May of 2017, I was actually given the incredible opportunity to go to Kenya with 9 other people from my home university and another university in the US. We ended up staying there for 3 weeks, and during that time, we would do some type of community service every single day. Trips and experiences like this are so underrated, which is really strange actually, because of how important they are. For me personally, I came from a pretty sheltered, safe, and middle-class lifestyle to living alongside people who made less than $1 a day. The point of this story isn't to brag about myself or my actions in any way, but to express my absolute amazement of the Kenyan culture and the African culture. These people really, really were some of the nicest, kindest, and most generous people that I've ever met in my entire life. This actually really confused me at first, though, because you can obviously see as soon as you arrive how happy these people are. From my impression that I received from the American media, I thought that the Kenyan people would be very sad and very angry, miserable people. But once I got there, it actually was the complete opposite. I actually got the chance to sink into the culture and the lifestyle, and I realized just how wrongly people and cultures from all around the world can be portrayed. They can be portrayed so incorrectly and so negatively. This really broke my heart because of how much kindness and love radiates through the air. There was one moment and experience that I will actually never forget. We went to the Kibigare slums one day, and this slum was actually one of the poorest and most populated slums in Kenya. This woman opened up her home to us. Her home was about the size of a small kitchen. Inside lived herself and her 3 children. Her husband passed away the year before. She gave us her full story about how he passed away from AIDS, actually. And it was really so hard for her. The walking into this house, I was actually really taken aback because I had never seen anything like this ever before in my life. And these conditions that these people live in slums all over the world are no condition that a human being should be living in. The first thing that happened when we entered this woman's home was that she offered us tea. She literally makes less than $1 a day, has a full family to feed, lives all 4 of her family members in one room, one bed, and this woman offered us tea. That moment for me was really one of the most eye-opening experiences ever, because it's blatantly obvious that this woman really cannot afford to offer us anything, but she found the kindness in her heart to offer us tea. Because of this woman and many others like her, I will forever look at people that live in a dangerous place or an unsafe place with an open mind. I think that that's very important because it's actually a little humbling as well. When you go to places like this, the love and happiness literally radiates off of everyone. And you really can't help but feel those same wonderful, great emotions yourself, even in these situations that can be considered negative.
You really did my day with this story. I can't understand, like, this is like very awkward, because the people that are very rich, most of them are doing charity events just for publicity, and they are not honest. They don't do it like from the heart. They just do it for the media, for stuff like that. And the poorest people, the one that don't have anything to share, that they have just one bread and they share the bread with you. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was actually unbelievable. I couldn't even believe it, really.
You will expect from them to be greedy. Greedy is the word.
Yeah. We were even walking down the street one time, and one of the sisters that we were with told us to watch out, watch our pockets in case people would, because we never knew if people would walk by and pickpocket us, because these people literally, that's how they live, that's how they make their day to day, that's how they go from day to day. Like,
you can meet this kind of people even in the richest neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's not just about because they are poor or no, that's crazy, because you can meet so many different people in a poor area that you can't imagine, really.
It might be a dangerous place, and there might be some poor people that you're a little nervous about being around, but those are literally, I think, the most important reason for living. Like, we have to help each other. That's the reason, that's humanity's purpose, is to help each other, and you learn from these kinds of experiences and situations, and I really think that it's so necessary, and more people should go and just throw yourselves in these type of environments, because it will change your life.
Yeah, I agree with you. Also, I think the bigger the risk is the bigger the risk where you are going is, the bigger the experience and the things you learn will be, the better. I mean, really. Speaking about Afghanistan, Mali, and all these places that develop
Mm-hmm.
terrorism right now. I spoke with some friends that went there, and they told me it's amazing what happens there. Really, it's like a trauma for you, but makes you realize that you're only a human, and living in a peaceful country, you're blessed.
Yeah.
So you have the difference. You have to compare your life, because most of the times people think that, I have a hard life, I don't have enough money, I don't find my love, and things like that, but they never think about what's actually a tragedy and a drama in life.
Yeah, I think people nowadays kind of focus a lot on the materialistic things, but situations like this and throwing yourself into these environments really is awesome.
So 3 weeks in Kenya totally changed your life and the point you see the life right now. That's something you can't experience if you just stay in one place. You can see how other people are struggling in their lives, but they have less than us, but also they are happier than us. That's crazy. I can't imagine how can this be possible, because if we don't have money, we can't you can't exit the house. If you don't have any money, you can't go out. Maybe you go in the park, but you'll stay alone in the park. And it's crazy.
Yeah, I was actually very afraid at first, because it's literally, you're going to Africa. You're spending your time in Africa, and it was actually just so crazy, and I definitely recommend anyone to go to Africa or to go to any place in the world that you're thinking about going, because it definitely could be one of those experiences that can change your life and how you look at the world and how you look at people, and you really grow as a person when you have these type of situations and experiences.
Yeah, you have to something to compare your life, you know. Like, tell me what you do with €1 in America. Nothing, really.
Buy maybe a pack of gum.
Not even that, really. Yeah. The traveling and living abroad in general, it's a very sensitive subject for me, because it's first time when I leave Romania, first time when I live abroad, and yeah, coming here was like, I did it without to think about too much, because I knew if I think too much I will hesitate and I will be scared, and but I just like went there to the office of my university. I say to them, yeah, I want to go there. I was the only person that wanted to come in Belgium. Don't ask me why. I don't know at this point why I choose it, but I don't regret it now. And yeah, before coming here, I thought will be easy. I thought my English is pretty nice, pretty good. But coming here and having contact with native speakers like you, and with other peoples that traveled much more than me, that actually traveled not like me, made me change my mind. First week was very cool for me. I was very enthusiastic, like honeymoon, you know. But after the first week, I realized I have much more problems that I thought I will have. I was homesick, pretty much like 1 month. I have homesick. I didn't say this to nobody, not to the friends from the house, because we live in White House. Not to my family, to my girlfriend back home, because I didn't want him, like nobody to suffer for me. So I wanted to carry it alone. And yeah, with the help of the other people, the other Erasmus students and some Belgium students, some buddies we have, I overcome the homesick, the barrier of language, because at the beginning I was very interested to speak with people, but after, like, as I told you, 1 week I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I will just observe everything, and I will try to take the best parts from everybody, to learn things from everybody. But I couldn't do that, to put like a barrier between me and the rest of the people, because they were too good with me. They were they were very nice people, really. They are very nice people and amazing friends. Just think about, like, we are friends for almost 4 months in December, but actually for me right now it's like forever. I don't know, I feel like I know everybody very good, because you live in the same house, you eat in the same place, you go to the same school, you do everything together. And yeah, that's amazing. Like, you can't stay alone, even if you want. And everybody was like dragging me top, like they didn't let me down, even if they didn't saw I have something. But yeah, it helped me a lot. And after all this period of time, to think about it, like from coming to Romania to Belgium, yeah, was really a big step. Belgium, it's the capital of European Union, so that was one of my reasons. But yeah.
So would you say that you're grateful for this experience?
For sure, yeah. Yeah, really. And I will be so fucking sorry. And I will be so sorry for this, really. I'd like to spend the Christmas with everybody here, but also I want to see the people back home too. So it's like Yeah, it's between two rocks, I guess.
Next, we have another guest, a Belgian student named Beatrice, a digital arts and entertainment student in Howest, who actually has really personal concerns when it comes to traveling to certain countries with different cultures. Pay attention because you don't hear this every day. Let's hear her out. Oh, Beatrice, how are you doing today?
Fabulous.
So, where have you been?
Netherlands, Germany, France, United Kingdom, Spain, Greece, Portugal, Austria, probably some others, but I can't remember.
So were you ever at a point feeling nervous about going to these destinations, or did you ever feel unsafe?
Pretty much every Eastern European country or African country, mainly for the reasons of their laws and culture. For like women's rights and gay rights, because I feel like public, let's call it shaming, I guess, or bashing of homosexuals is still more a thing in countries like Russia, or some countries like Kenya or somewhere in South Africa or whatever. So I feel like that's a bit more like dangerous, quote unquote, or yeah, it makes me nervous to go there, cause yeah.
Okay. Thank you for being here today. She brings up some very interesting points there, I think. As a bisexual female myself, I can personally relate to this fear because cultures around the world are also different, and you never know who is going to be accepting of your lifestyle, who is going to shame you, and you really just have to prepare yourself a little bit for that. This topic is so important when it comes to traveling because each culture has different beliefs. Cultural differences can be a big thing, especially when they may lead to some unpleasant situations. However, the most important thing is to have an open mind about them and try to adapt while you are abroad, while also being safe. We have in the description a link with useful information for LGBT travelers. Check it out. One of the big things about traveling is language. It can prove to be very difficult to express your thoughts, make a joke, and be understood when you're not speaking in your mother tongue. I know Mihai, for example, gets very frustrated with me when he tells me a joke and I have no idea what he's trying to say, and then the joke's ruined. You have to make a big effort to be spontaneous when you are abroad, and because of that, especially when your language is as different as English and Chinese. Speaking of which, we have a guest from no other place than China. His name is Mask, and he has some interesting things to say about travel.
Hello, Mask. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
You had any fear before coming in Belgium?
Yeah, first of all is the language because our teacher said some people will not speak English, and also my English is not that good. So actually that's the first things, and the second is because my major is product design, and sometimes we have to make some models and like to buy some materials. Our teacher also told us that it's quite difficult buy the things you want in Belgium because sometimes it takes a long time and your schedule is very tight. So that's the two things I quite fear about before I come to Belgium.
No fear about terrorism, about, I don't know, different of culture?
I think culture is no problem. You mentioned about the terrorism, right? Yeah, we heard some news about that, but I think Belgium is not that danger like compared to France or Britain.
Did you ever been abroad before?
I've been to Spain last year with my father during August, and I've been to Japan at the beginning of this year with my roommates. To go to Spain is my first trip abroad, because actually 2 years ago I've been to Cambodia with my parents, but it's a tourist group, so there's some guy will guide you all the way along, so you don't have to worry about anything. And to Spain, it was about 21 days, only my father and me. So I have to prepare everything. And actually, before departures, the first things I fear is because we have to transfer in Dubai. I have no experience like transfer in foreign airport. I'm afraid about that if I get lost in the airport and I don't understand the guidance on in the airport. But actually, we arrived there. We found it's very easy. It's very clear about all the guidance. Another thing, so when we arrived in Spain, is about because I read some like article that people who have already been there. They said there's quite a lot of thief in Barcelona or in Madrid. So that's the second thing I was quite worried about. But actually, it's very safe. I didn't found any thief actually. Japan is much more easier for me. The most of things I fear about is because we have a war with Japan during 1930s, and we all afraid that maybe the people there will not treat Chinese in a good way. But actually, the people there are very very polite, very very kindful to us and to all the peoples.
Any advice for ones that want to do it and are afraid?
Know some information about the country, the culture, the people, like also some other life informations, and be polite and everything. I think it's okay.
It is very interesting to think that even if he came from a totally different country, he wasn't afraid of the cultural shock. The fears he mentioned are very universal, like getting lost, being robbed, and of course the language, as it's so different from his own. But as he said, preparation is the key, so if you travel prepared, you have nothing to be afraid.
Thank you all for joining us in our first episode of Explore the Unknown. It has been a pleasure to share all of these stories and experiences with you today. We hope that they help the more hesitant of you to make the step towards traveling. Stay tuned for our next episode about the best tips and tricks about traveling.